So yeah, welcome to this webinar by Flaunt Digital at Livin the Agency Live. During this 30-minute webinar, we're going to be talking you through our different paths into digital marketing. So you might be someone who's just finishing school or university. You might be thinking about a complete career change into marketing. Whoever you are, if you're interested in a marketing career, hopefully you'll leave today's session with a few tips and tricks and a bit of an idea of where to get started. So first things first, we'll just do some quick intros. So, little Miss Learned on the job, couldn't resist using this trending meme at the moment. So I'm Holly. I have over 8 years of marketing experience, the last 4 years working in agencies and leads. And I work as brand communications lead here at Flaunt Digital, which involves driving communications and marketing for Flaunt, basically. My specialist areas include social media marketing, brand marketing, design, and personal branding.
So, Little Miss University and Experience. So, hi, I'm Laura. I graduated from Leeds Beckett University just over a year ago with first class honours in public relations with journalism. I've now been at Flaunt just over a year, having joined as soon as I finished uni. I'm currently enjoying my role as a digital PR executive. Yes, my day-to-day role includes planning and creating digital PR campaigns, so writing press releases, putting together brainstorms, influencer sourcing, social posts, also spotting reactive opportunities and communicating with clients and journalists. I took a more of a traditional route into marketing, having done A-levels and then a degree, but I also managed to get quite a lot of experience whilst finishing my degree, which is maybe not as traditional as some other routes. So we're both just going to talk through our different routes into marketing and just, yeah, have a bit of a discussion in comparison.
Yeah. Okay, so start with a little bit of my background. So as I mentioned earlier, Laura and I have taken quite different paths on our journey into marketing. My educational background is fairly non-existent. So completed GCSEs, about 15 of them. I don't know why you need that many, but and started A-levels, but I ended up dropping out of school in the first year of sixth form because I just wasn't really enjoying it. I've always found it quite hard to remain engaged in sort of traditional education models. I'm much better at like hands-on learning and getting stuck in, really. So this has been my professional journey. I found learning styles which suit me a bit better and expanding my knowledge through online courses with more practical tasks, webinars, and extensive research on topics that I just find quite interesting. I've also completed management courses and more practical qualifications. So when I left school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I've had jobs since I was about 12, working in hotels, cafes, restaurants, farms, literally whatever I could throw my hand to, really. I was quite happy to get stuck in and get on with it. So when I left school, I was working part-time at a campsite and also a pub. So I just saved a bit of money, went travelling and did the whole see the world type thing. When I got back, obviously I had to get a real job, so took a job on full-time at a local, quite well-known campsite, and this is where I sort of started getting a bit more stuck into learning about marketing, really. So I was running like day-to-day operations for the business, so that was like all aspects of marketing, including that. It was things like SEO, marketing campaigns, designs, paid ads, and even things like stalls and events, you know, like at trade shows and things like that. So realizing that this was what I actually really enjoyed doing, this is what I wanted to do, I started freelancing for local businesses. So I started quite small with just like a couple of clients and charged them like very little, just as a way to sort of start gaining some experience and expand my own knowledge. So it helped me learn in the way that I learn best, which is by just doing and getting on with it. So it meant that if a client needed some photos editing, I had to go and learn Photoshop to be able to do it for them. If they needed videos editing, I had to learn how to edit videos, things like that. So it was a really good way for me to get stuck in and get some experience while learning at the same time. So this led to my first role in marketing. So knowing it was the industry I wanted to be in, having got a bit of experience under my belt off my own back, I applied for a job at a design agency actually just as an office manager. So I went in as an office manager, but literally within a couple of weeks, got moved into account management and project management. So I really enjoyed account management. It was a proper test of the skills that I taught myself. And it also, being in that environment, I was able to expand my knowledge, and you're surrounded by people that know more than you do and that you can ask questions to. So it was a great way for me to learn whilst actually just getting on and doing it at the same time. It was a really good job to start with, as it had a little bit of everything. So sales, project management, strategy, campaign planning, event management, things that I kind of done a little bit of before. I was now doing them for different clients in different industries. And then this ultimately led to my role now, which is brand communications lead for Flaunt, which day to day sort of involves pretty much all of those skills that I've built up over the years. So planning and overseeing aspects of marketing for the business. Again, it's a very like hands-on role, which works well for my skill set and the way I like to work. So quite happy to, do a bit of video editing here, produce podcasts, just get stuck in wherever's needed. So yeah, that's just a brief overview of my journey into marketing. So Laura's is a little bit different.
Yes. So I also went down the more traditional education route. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do after school, but I knew that I loved writing, communicating, building relationships. So I knew it would definitely be something that involved those sort of skills. I used to actually want to be a news presenter until I kind of realised that I didn't quite have the accent for that. So I knew I was still really wanted to work within the sort of news industry. So I was really interested in that. So I initially began searching for journalism courses. Then looking more into it, I got a bit put off, just the sort of instability of the industry. I actually stumbled across the public relations with journalism course. I'd never really heard of public relations before, except for celebrities kind of doing PR stunts and things like that. But as I read upon it more and read about the course, I realised that it would involve a lot of the skills that I had and that I was interested in. So I decided to take the plunge, apply for uni in Leeds, move away from Newcastle. Yeah, best decision. Feel like it's good to move away from your hometown. You obviously mature a lot, learning to live by yourself, thrown in at the deep end. So yeah, definitely the right decision. As I started studying the course more, I realised that definitely wanted to go down the public relations route, because I was very interested in that. So that is just some of the experience that I managed to get during my time at university. So starting at the bottom, I started doing an internship for a local social enterprise where I was in charge of updating their social media and marketing strategy. So I designed social posts and the content. I even ran campaigns and even managed to secure some radio coverage within my first few weeks. So that was really good, and obviously it was such a good feeling. So I knew I wanted to do more of that as my full-time job. This was all actually done remotely thanks to COVID. So it was actually very handy to do alongside my degrees, because I didn't have to log in at a certain time or go into the office on certain days or anything like that. I could just kind of do all the work in my own time, which was, yeah, very flexible, very handy. Next, I did some marketing for a cosmetics company. I loved this internship so much and did actually have plans of staying here after uni until I discovered Flaunt. So this role mainly involved copywriting and thinking about marketing and PR strategies. I actually went into their office a couple of days a week, which was quite hard to do whilst I was still at uni and finishing my degree and things. But yeah, I'd go into the office a couple of days and then I'd be able to just finish all the rest of the work off at home if I didn't quite get it done during the office hours. But yeah, I absolutely loved that internship. It was really, really valuable. I learned so much there. It's not on there, but I also did some social media marketing for a clothing brand. So this is one of my friend's brands that was just starting up. So I was heavily involved in taking some of the pictures for the socials and planning what to put out there, and trying to get them featured in the press. So featured on articles in magazines, things like that. That was really, really fun. I was really interested in that. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed. I also did some experience for a holistic / wellbeing sort of brand that involves some strategy planning and work on socials. Yeah, so I'd say in my last year of uni, I realised I really wanted to work in the industry and started to realise how competitive it was, and just thought I'd get as much experience as possible really in quite a short amount of time, just to kind of give me a head start when I was looking for jobs after uni.
With everything packed it on.
Yes, managed to squeeze a lot in.
Okay, so if you're on this webinar, you're hopefully interested in some sort of career in marketing. So where do you get started?
So I think I literally started by just Googling best PR agencies in Leeds and Newcastle, not really being sure where to go after uni, just kind of happy to go where the job was. So yes, a lot of research, both in-house and agencies. So it's good to look at people's websites. Companies are usually quite proud of the marketing they've been doing, so it's usually quite clear on their websites. Socials are obviously a really good platform to use to look at different agencies and different in-house sort of marketing. LinkedIn especially is a very good tool to use. Also listen to their podcasts. I think more and more people are starting to kind of do podcasts, so really useful to see the values and the personality of the brand, of the agency. So yeah, really utilize your research. You can see what clients people are working with, what sort of campaigns people have been doing, and you can just kind of get a feel for what sort of agency will suit your vibe and your personality the best. I'd say it's a good place to start looking at agencies rather than in-house, just because agencies are such a good way, especially straight from uni, to get so much experience in different parts of marketing. So far I've done social media marketing, influencer marketing, copywriting, as well as the PR bits. It's also good for being able to work with all of the different teams within the marketing department. So I've worked with design, devs, paid team to optimize all of the PR campaigns that I've been working on. So yes, research, and in particular pay attention to the agencies out there.
So next thing, so one of the best things that I think you can do, and this is at any stage of your career, whether you're at uni, whether you're just starting out, whether you've got no idea what to do, build a personal brand. So yes, some companies do still require a CV, and there are stages you get to of interviews or applying for jobs where you will need that written communication in the form of a CV. But there is now the opportunity to make an impression on potential employers and experts in your industry without ever making a CV or ever even talking to them. So there's loads of platforms out there that you can use for this. LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, literally any of those can be used to help enhance your personal brand and to create content around things that you're passionate about. The best thing to do is think about your interests, your knowledge, and use them to show off your skills. So write about campaigns you've worked on, write about things you've learned. If you've done a little bit of research on something you're interested in, or you've had to do a bit of research, something you weren't that knowledgeable in, just share that, because there's other people that are probably in the same boat as you are, and it shows your passion for it. So LinkedIn is a really obvious platform to start posting, and it's one that we're really big advocates for at Flaunt. We use it a lot, and we've seen sort of the power that you can have through posting on LinkedIn and using it for your personal brand. It's full of like-minded professionals and industry leaders, and it's also a great source of inspiration and somewhere to consume content. So it makes sense that if you're spending time on that platform, building your personal brand, it needs to be somewhere that you can also consume useful, relevant content as well. Another great place to start is by creating a blog and regularly posting through this about things you're passionate about. There are so many skills that you can learn from this, as like SEO, copywriting, design, and it's also just a great way to show off to potential employers and show your enthusiasm.
Yeah, I really wish that I'd started a blog during uni. Tutors always bang on about how important it is. And now that I'm in the industry, I realise how beneficial it would have been to just start up my own blog during uni. Like Polly said, it's such a good way to just show off your skills, really show off how much of a good writer you are. You can also improve your writing skills. It shows you're hardworking, and it's a good way of showing off what sort of interests you have. yeah, very, very good idea to start a blog. I also just, on the personal brand topic, I also made a creative portfolio on Canva. So that showed off the work that I was most proud of from uni projects and from work experience. So that was all branded really nicely on a nice PDF. Looked really good with nice font images and colours throughout. One showed that I'd done all of this amazing work and that I had all these different skills, and two showed that I could stick to a personal brand and just, yeah, come across in a certain sort of way. So personal brand, get a creative portfolio.
So the next thing, which I think Laura has briefly touched on already, is talking to people. So LinkedIn, yeah, we're going to bang on about this quite a lot because, like I said, we really love it. It's an amazing tool for connecting with people and actually having genuine conversations. So you can connect with individuals from businesses you admire, ask people questions if you've seen something that they've posted about or some work that they've done elsewhere. Generally, people really love talking about themselves and their own achievements. So a lot of the time, if you're interested and you'll ask them about their work, they probably will reply and have a decent conversation with you. And that's such a good way of learning like genuine information and gaining a bit more knowledge as well. Ask about businesses, ask employees at businesses what they think of it, what it's like working there. This is the best way you can find out what it'll be like to work for a business, is ask the people that have either been there or left, because that's going to be your honest information. So yeah, definitely talk to as many people as you can.
Just on the last point as well, experience is obviously very important for both of us. I was quite lucky with my course, so my lecturers would always post loads of opportunities in the Facebook group that we had. I would always show an interest in all of the opportunities that came up. And yeah, and just send my CV across and just apply and try my best to get that experience under my belt. I just kind of worry about when to fit it all in after I've been successful in my application. Yeah, luckily I was furloughed from my part-time waitress job during COVID. So I had the time and the money to be able to do quite a lot of marketing in my spare time, which obviously might not be as easy if you happen to go to work to obviously just get some more money and things, because there are quite a lot of opportunities that will be unpaid. But since COVID, there are definitely a lot more remote opportunities, which is obviously so much easier to fit stuff into your own time rather than having to like traipse into an office a few days a week and take up full days. So yeah, definitely look for remote opportunities, because yeah, they can be really flexible and easy to fit in. One of the internships that I did do, I actually found from just browsing jobs on Indeed. So I saw that they were hiring for a full-time marketing executive. I obviously knew I couldn't apply for that role just yet, but I saw an opportunity with a company that had spaces to fill, was looking for people to do some work. So I think I either emailed or give them a call just to explain my circumstances and said I'd be willing to give you my time in exchange for just some really valuable experience. And yeah, that was really beneficial. I learned so much, not just skills, but got a wider understanding of how in-house marketing actually works. Yeah, so definitely try and get the experience, whether it be remote or unpaid or whatever, just get whatever you can. Another good one is to ask your friends and family if they need any help with their marketing for their businesses. If they've got their own businesses or anything like that, just ask if they need any sort of support in any sort of way.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because that's pretty much where I started off to get like freelance and stuff, was like just like asking my mum's friends who have businesses if they need anything, and that's sort of where I started to build up like a lot of my freelancing clients. So that's a really good way to do it. So what can you expect from your first job, and I guess what should you be looking for when you are first researching them? So hybrid, office, working from home, depending on your circumstances, working from home might be the best option, and also a model that a lot of businesses now operate after COVID. So a lot of places are fully remote. For me personally, I'm not sure I would have got the same hands-on experience without being in a physical office. It's really useful being amongst people, being able to listen to the conversations that are going on, how the different teams interact, how the projects span across the full business. And I think sometimes you only get that by being there and being able to listen and see what's going on. It also means that everybody's there to just ask a really quick question too. So if you're in a room with all these experts, there's always somebody there that can give you a bit of knowledge and help you out, which is sometimes a little bit more difficult if you're remote. But these are all things to consider when you're looking for a new role. At Flaunt, we operate a hybrid model, so we're in the office 3 days a week, and we're at home 2 days a week, which I think is pretty much a perfect fit for me. So you get those 3 days in with everybody where you're in amongst all the different projects, you can hear what's going on, everybody can chat, and also a great way to like meet everybody and become part of the culture and stuff like that. But then 2 days just to be at home and, you know, have a bit more of a work-life balance type thing as well. The other thing to remember is if it's hybrid or it's remote, or you end up doing your interview completely remotely and virtually, but you are expected to then do some hours in the office when you start, I would always recommend asking to go in and see the space, see the office, get a feel for the atmosphere, and get a feel for whether it's the right space for you. Because if you have to be there, you know, 3-5 days a week, it's important to know that you enjoy the space and you like the feel for it as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Polly. I think for a first job, it's really important to be in the office for at least a few days a week. When I first started, it was still just 2 days in the office because we were still just coming out of lockdown. And even that was a bit too little in the office. Moving on to the next point, questions. You need to ask so many questions in your first few months, and asking questions in person is so much easier than asking questions like over a laptop. Yeah, just don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't think that you're being annoying. Everyone's been in the same situation. You're not going to learn if you don't ask. So yeah, asking questions is very important. I think it's also important to ask about the values and the policies of the business. It can be a bit nerve-wracking when you're new and you're just coming into the industry to be like, oh, so what do you offer? But usually businesses are really proud of what benefits they offer, so they will want to talk to you about it. They might just not realise that you don't know. So yes, questions are so important.
Definitely. So our next point is get involved. So this is anything to the business really. So agencies in particular are really, really good at organising socials and events for the team and things for people to get involved with. I'd always recommend getting involved with anything that's going on in the business if you're comfortable doing that. It's a really great way to meet everybody and share knowledge and make friends, understand the way the business works. And get to know different teams that you might not work with on a day-to-day basis, but you might need to in the future, or you might need to ask for help in the future. So it's a great way to sort of start building those connections. I'd also recommend getting involved with anything that the business is doing in terms of marketing and content. So if there are any opportunities here that you can get on board with, I'd definitely show your enthusiasm and let them know that you're keen. So that's things like writing blogs for the company, being on webinars like we are, being on podcasts, just anything really that might interest you and where you might be able to, you know, show that you're keen and learn a little bit from it as well.
Yeah. Next point, stay in the loop. It's a very good idea to keep up to date with what's going on in the industry. Like we've banged on about the whole webinar, LinkedIn is so useful to see what everyone else is doing. Just see what sort of things are trending on social media or anything like that. It's just really important to just have a look. In PR particularly as well, it's also really important to keep in the loop with what the news cycle is. So Twitter is a really, really good app to use to just understand what's currently topical, what people are interested in. So yes, very good to just keep in the loop. Just look for inspiration anywhere. Sorry, I'm done.
So that sort of rounds off our talking part. So this is a chance to ask any questions that you might have. I think we've got a few in the chat. Let me just open that up. Okay, so would you value experience over education? Interesting. So I think from my point of view, I don't really have much of the education level, so like experience has completely got me to where I am now. So for me, it's been super, super important. I think for other people, you might learn better in a classroom environment, which again is really important if that's your style of learning. So I think it depends on who you are.
Yeah, for me, I think it definitely goes hand in hand. I don't think I could have done just education. I think I needed that experience as well. But for me personally, I've always like really enjoyed school and things like that. So I feel like going through education definitely made me more interested in the industry. So I think definitely hand in hand.
Okay, so next one. Where should I start with building a personal brand? Okay. There's a lot to this. I would start by just deciding what you want to talk about, really. And then you might decide that through just like posting about different topics and seeing which one you actually enjoy the most. It's not about which one does really well and gets you the most engagement or gets you the most followers or the most views. It's about what you enjoy talking about and what you're passionate about. That's your personal brand. And then from that, I'd probably sketch out like some content pillars and decide what the topics that you want to talk about going forward are. And from that, just start expanding on that and posting daily if you've got time to do that. If not, at least just regularly, like a few times a week. And a really important bit that a lot of people forget is it's not just about posting stuff, it's also about building a community and talking to people. So that's talking to people in the comments, you know, messaging people who you're really interested in their content and you found something you can resonate with in what they're saying, or people that have engaged with what you said, just give them a bit of further information if you can. So that's the best place to start, really, is just by getting stuck in and doing it and finding what works best for you and what you want to be talking about there. There's one more here. What advice would you give to somebody who knows that further education isn't for them, but also doesn't know what career they want to go into? I think this is where I would say get experience. If you don't want to do further education, completely understand that. I didn't, and I just ended up working. And if sometimes a job that you don't think could lead to anything, it might be like a job in a pub or a job, I don't know, working, you know, behind a bar or whatever, that might actually lead to more than you think it would. So you might end up working in, say, like a restaurant, talking to like in like our example, the marketing manager, and helping them take pictures for social, realizing you really enjoyed doing that, and that leads on to that career. Or that might be you end up in the kitchen and you realize you really enjoy what's going on there and you decide that's the career you'd like to pursue. I'd say the best thing you can do is just go out and get some experience, try and work in some different industries and see whether that's a full-time job or whether it's just a bit of work experience, working across different sectors and seeing what works for you and what environment you like to be in, and then seeing if there's something that sparks your interest, really.
Yeah, I'm just looking for loads of different opportunities again. Yeah, like I said, I just went for everything that came my way. So yeah, just go for any opportunity that comes its way, and yeah, just try and get as much experience to see what you like personally.
Yeah. So we've got time for one more, I think. Recommendations for staying up to date in the industry. So I guess this is like platforms and things. So we said LinkedIn, haven't we?
LinkedIn, Twitter,
newsletters are really, really good because that's just delivered straight into your inboxes and you can read. There's a few really good marketing ones. There's Marketing Week, the Daily Carnage is another really good one, and they're just literally giving you all the information straight in front of you. Also, Flaunt's got newsletters.
Yeah, just use all of them things Polly's just mentioned. There's definitely a lot of things out there, so yeah, it's just following the right sort of people and the right sort of companies.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that takes us to past, so we'll wrap it up there.